Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trial and Error podcast. It is Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend, but you're here with us now, and it's okay. It's all good now.
Yeah.
What are we drinking today, Dan?
Today we have Elijah Craig bourbon whiskey. This is
Bourbon whiskey.
bourbon whiskey. This is one of the oldest whiskeys in the land. It says 1789 is when they started.
Sounds about right.
And a little fun fact, they're also credited with aging in burnt barrels or charred barrels, as you'd say.
Yeah, I believe it.
There's different stories as to how that came about, whether it was intentional or on accident, but however the fuck it happened, it started something magical.
Charred American oak, man.
Mm-hmm. Now here we are.
It's one of the wonders of this country.
Drinking Elijah Craig. So,
right.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
To Elijah.
It's one of those whiskeys. It's feels a little off taking a shot of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the bar industry, and I highly recommend this as an old fashioned. Manhattan, it's too sweet. Old fashioned, you can do this all day. Use honey instead of sugar. People always go way too hard on the sugar with this. One thing I forgot in my intro is where the hell you can find us.
Yeah, where are we?
Well, if you're here on Instagram Live, you found us. Otherwise, our website, Trial and Error Podcast, or Trial and Error Pod, will be up. Trial and Error Podcast. Thank you, producer Aaron. Will be up in the next couple weeks. And from that point on, you'll be able to listen back to all your favorite Trial and Error episodes, if you do have a favorite.
That's right.
Yeah.
You'll be able to find your new favorites as well.
We're your new family now.
You can learn and grow with us forever and ever.
We're your new dads.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So what do we have today?
Deep fakes.
Deep fakes.
Have I talked to you about deep fakes?
I think so, yeah.
Deep fakes are one of the craziest and creepiest things that have come out of the recent advancements with technology, if that's a thing. Essentially, the whole idea is that someone's face is being put on someone else's. A computer is essentially putting a digital mask on the person. And it is so unbelievably realistic. It's insane. Deep fake porn is a massive thing right now. And not that I've personally seen any deep fake porn. Are we letting in? Not that I've seen any, but from what I've heard, it's quite realistic and a little freaky.
That does sound kind of terrifying, actually.
Well, so even more than that, I don't know what it's called, but the same concept can apply to voices. I don't know if this can be heard on the feed, but we have two dogs trying to enter,
attacking the studio right now.
like literally clawing at both entrances into our studio. It's fantastic. Oh, there's another.
Oh.
Should we just let one in?
It's nice when a dog tries to win your affection, I gotta say.
It is. Anyways, so I got curious about the whole audio side of this, and I found a video about a program called Lyrebird. And essentially with this program, you download an app and record your voice, and you do all these, it gives you all these sentences to record. And I recorded about 200 of them. And essentially it takes your articulation, it takes how you speak, and with its algorithm, it essentially puts together this avatar of your voice.
That's fucking
and
creepy.
Within that, so in the app itself, you can, if I hand you the app, you can type whatever you want, and it will say it in my voice.
Do you have this up and running yet? Like,
It's almost there. My phone is being used to broadcast the feed, but
what more does it take? Is it just after a certain amount of sentences that you say it finally completes the algorithm?
So there's different levels. I'm at about 2% right now, and I've recorded 200 clips. And when you do it, it sounds like an automated voice. It doesn't sound real, but it sounds like me. Now, You're supposed to do this through a high quality or high fidelity microphone, and you're supposed to read it slowly and over articulate. I just did it on my phone sitting on the couch over and over and over. So it's not the highest of quality, but they showed some examples with like Donald Trump's voice. Someone like a lot of political figures, there's hours and hours and hours of them speaking that's readily available.
Right.
So you can take that kind of thing and use it to mold this avatar. And so that means, as far as statements and whatever people are going to be saying in their speeches or addressing the nation, could all be a lie.
Well, yeah, and to that same end, aren't you worried that somebody could fucking make you admit to something in your own voice?
Absolutely.
So why are you doing this?
For research.
Okay. What's the reward? What's the risk reward?
Being able to talk about it with you and being able to find out what it does.
Okay.
I'm stupid.
Am I even talking to you right now?
I don't know.
How would anybody know?
How would anybody know?
That's
Dude,
fucked
this
up.
dog situation is nuts.
I like it.
It's so funny. I feel like we're doing a podcast hiding, like in The Walking Dead.
Well, I feel like we're the Beatles, the Beatles of podcasting. I don't think anybody could argue that fact. Certainly
sure.
at this point in our career.
Dude,
They're just
hot
chasing us down,
right
won't leave
off
us
the
alone.
bat, dude.
Damn. Well, it makes sense.
You have a good producer when he's like willing to go outside and take care of the dogs.
Take care of the dog situation.
Dude,
yeah.
he's out there fighting the good fight.
Good man.
How
Good
about
man.
what do you think about the labeling on this can? It's pretty sick, isn't it?
Yeah, so for those of us who are listening and can't see what we're talking about, this is the Deschutes, I guess is what it's called. It's from Deschutes Brewery in Bend, Oregon. But they have kind of like a tropical, flowery, animal-related vibe going on. It's cool. I mean, it's a good beer, and I like it. It's supposed to be Hawaiian. I mean, like, shoots. That's kind of like a term people from the islands use. It's just kind of like, shoots, bro.
This is a good barbecue beer.
Good barbecue beer.
4% alcohol. I was talking with an executive chef the other day.
Oh.
And one concept I've developed working in the restaurant industry is I don't trust any person who's an expert or an executive or someone high up who's respected who doesn't appreciate the original, the finer thing, or the cheaper things. The executive chef in a company I worked for previously, this guy had the accolades. He knew what he was doing, ran a beautiful restaurant program, and me and him would get into heated debates about the best frozen pizzas and the best frozen Trader Joe's products.
Yeah.
The current executive chef, the reason I bring this up is he came upstairs recently and was checking out the new rotating beer I had on. And it's like a dry hopped saison. It's super light, really easy to drink.
Yeah, I've tried that one.
And this guy tells me, he's like, this is a little heavier than what I usually drink. I usually drink Coors Light. This guy runs not a Michelin star, a James Beard Award winning restaurant program. And this guy drinks Coors Light on the daily. And there's something I highly, highly respect about that.
Yeah, I mean, alcoholism's a crazy thing, I think a lot of that is what it is. Like, if you're in the restaurant industry, especially if you're a chef and you're tasting stuff all day and, like, your palate's kind of got to be on point, you don't necessarily want to get off work and then drink more stuff that has, like, these crazy new flavors or anything like that. You kind of just want something right down the middle that's going to do the job. And, I mean,
that's a separate discussion. I think what it is being able to go back to your roots and appreciate that.
Sure, but I think also we like to drink in the industry, and
True.
we like to be efficient. We like to have a good time, and drinking beer or different types of liquor or whatever that's easy to drink really helps kind of streamline that process of getting fucked up at the end of the day.
I think as someone who works on the beverage or alcohol side of things, I just, at the end of the day, I don't want to think about what I'm drinking. I just want to enjoy an adult beverage without having to conceptualize it and understand why this ingredient is part of it. But I think there's something to be said in any profession about, someone who's highly respected and someone who's an expert being able to go back and revisit their roots and appreciate that. I think that's a big thing.
For sure. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be tons of actors out there and stuff like that who are in all these fancy high budget films where they're, character actors and really doing research for the roles and stuff, and movies are winning awards and all that shit. But then at the end of the day, they probably get on YouTube and watch like, the 55.
55.
Shiggity 5.
Dude, that's a classic.
Right, and it's dumb as fuck. It's like a flash video. It's one of the first viral internet videos.
You're taking me back to E-Bomb's world, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it was posted, I think. And yeah, it's just one of those things where you kind of got to appreciate the simple things and the building blocks of your career and everything.
You just opened up Pandora's box, man.
Oh shit.
Pandora's box of nostalgia.
Yeah.
E-Bomb's world, that whole era of the internet, man. Like the beginning of YouTube, even before that.
It was so pure.
Yeah.
People hadn't really. It was pure. It was pure. Okay. It was hella pure. People did not realize. Our producer
doesn't like to talk into his microphone when he talks to us.
People didn't realize though that they could talk shit and ruin people's lives on the internet yet. People hadn't really figured that out in mass. They were just like, hey, let's spread positivity in the form of stupid fucking
it wasn't even just
videos and shit
spreading
like that.
Positivity. It was like not even that. It's
anarchy.
We can post our creative efforts online. We can share this with people, and no one knew what to do yet, and so people tried everything.
Yeah,
and it was hilarious. And then it was amazing.
The people who weren't able to create things themselves and post them are the ones who then became trolls and started talking all this shit. They just got bitter.
There's a lot of bitter people.
They got bitter over something beautiful.
It wasn't always that way.
No.
For all the kids born 2000 onward, it wasn't always this way. There was a brighter time. There was a time when the internet was a place that you could go and get anything. Like everyone our age who was on the internet in middle school was a criminal. We were all on LimeWire. We were all on ShareBear.
Yeah.
We were all taking that shit. We were taking whatever we wanted, dude.
Actually, I only ever downloaded 3 songs off of LimeWire.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was Numb by Linkin Park, Faint by Linkin Park, and Somewhere I Belong by Linkin Park.
Hell yeah.
And that was my playlist for when I played my little snowboarding PC demo game that you could only play the first 2 levels.
Dude, my whole iPod library, which by the way, my first iPod was a shuffle, 512 megabytes.
Wow.
And I had probably almost a gigabyte's worth of stuff from LimeWire. And I would have to pick and choose what I wanted on my iPod that day. Yeah. If I was going out on a trip, if I was flying somewhere, I had to be damn sure that I wanted to listen to what I was going to put on there for the next week.
Yeah. It forced you to figure out who you really like and what your favorite shit is.
It did.
I mean, that's one of the tough things about when you have that limited space and you have so much to choose from. Like, I don't know. Part of the thing was you're sharing the music with your friends. Like you each got an earbud in one ear and stuff, and you don't want to. I don't know. You want to be inclusive, but at the same time, you want to kind of show them what you like and stuff like that. And at first, when I first got an iPod, it was bigger capacity, but I was still super hesitant about what I put on there because I feel like there's a lot of bands I'm supposed to like, and so maybe I bought 1 or 2 of those songs just because I was peer pressured.
You bought them?
Oh yeah, like I said, I only illegally downloaded 3 songs back in the day.
Wow, that's insane.
But I mean, it's one of those things I don't know, a lot of people like U2. I fucking hate them.
Yeah, very generic.
They are generic. Or this one actually kind of makes me mad. Imagine Dragons. You ever fucking listen to them?
I have. I mean,
they're just formulaic, garbage stadium rock. All of their songs are written to be played in a large stadium with people who aren't really like listening. They're just
Yeah.
there for the impact of that like atmosphere. And like if you actually listen to the songs, they are so heavily produced. And like I think Imagine Dragons started off as like an actual band with like
Most do.
guitar players and bass player and shit.
Did they
like
not
that.
have a guitar player?
I don't know. They probably do, but do you ever fucking hear them?
Honestly, if you showed me an Imagine Dragons, oh, Thunder, yeah.
Oh, I fucking hate that song.
I mean, yeah, they're a pop rock band, man. I mean, it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's to each their own. I think if they're successful, all power to them, man. Like, let them do their thing. But I think
it's garbage.
that's okay. And see, that's the beautiful thing, man. Everyone can have their opinion. No one has to agree on
I
everything.
think it's bad for society.
I don't think
Fucking
so.
bands like Imagine Dragons. Yeah.
No, they're not. You know what's bad for society is all these young mumble rappers who are rapping because they do Xanax and getting face tattoos. That's bad for society.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a different, same thing, different end of the spectrum.
Not the same at all. These
is
guys
the
are just making music. Their messages are like, I'm not really familiar with their lyrics, but I'm sure it's not like promoting prescription drug abuse.
No. I mean, it makes you want to abuse prescription drugs when you listen to it, but that's just because it's so shitty.
You know what's funny is like a lot of music revolves around a certain movement. You know, like you have some of the later Beatles stuff that was, you know, in the 70s kind of hallucinogen era. What?
I don't think the Beatles put out any music in the 70s.
I'm pretty sure they did.
I think
Aaron, can you look that up?
69, I think, was like the last year.
Well, either way, like I guess what I'm talking about is like with like the with people like Jimi Hendrix, like the kind of forthcoming of stoner rock or like stoner music. Mm-hmm. That was an era where those people's parents thought that was the devil. Those people's parents thought that marijuana kills and you know it's gonna ruin their children and they're all out having unprotected sex.
Yeah, well, I mean Elvis too. Fuck, when he went on TV and like shook his hips just a little bit.
Absolutely, he's a sex monster.
He is a sex monster.
But
sex
then,
monger.
But then you compare what you
So I
got.
got the answer here. Their final studio album, Let It Be, was released May 8th, 1970.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But then you compare that to what we're seeing in hip hop right now, which is not promoting, but kids are idolizing.
Well, it's normalizing all of that.
It's
shit.
normal. That's the word. That it's normalizing prescription drug abuse, and these are completely different things.
Yeah.
In the 70s, it's an era of people saying, "Hey, like marijuana kind of opens our minds. It relaxes us. It helps us get in touch with who we are." You know, mushrooms and acid, which was created by the government, helps us see ourselves even further. And now it's just kids getting real fucked up and ruining their lives and putting fucking tattoos on their faces before they even got a tattoo anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, at
It's a
some
whole different
point
thing.
in the history of our evolution, we've kind of done a lot to make sure as many people as possible have success and live and stuff. And maybe this is just the universe trying to even all of that out. You know what I'm saying? Let these people fall behind. If you're dumb enough to like fucking buy into that shit, and like I get it. Like, I mean, fuck, who are we listening to? Fall Out Boy. Back in the day, they made us dress a certain way. Like, music is definitely hugely influential, and when you're young like that, you can't necessarily pick it apart. But like, at a certain point, you gotta realize there's a difference between wearing skinny jeans and like getting a gun and fucking overdosing on pills.
They're absolutely different concepts. I mean, as you can see, if you're watching on Instagram Live, you can see that in our picture frame today is a beautiful portrait of a man known as Pete Wentz. And actually today is the 10th anniversary of the day that, I don't know if you've seen the picture, the day that Bruno Mars walked down the street before he was famous and saw Pete Wentz and and gives him. I'm gonna show you this photo. If you're not watching on live, right, or if you're listening, we will have this photo posted on our website. But he's just looking at him in awe. Anyways, Fall Out Boy was a game changer for me. I understand the reputation they've developed now. You could put them in the same boat as Imagine Dragons. They're a pop rock arena band, which is great.
Is this kind of what it looked like?
I guess so.
We'll try to make this image available online, but I think
we will also post the drawing that Dan just.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. I think we'll make that happen.
Yeah, here's the picture. So this is Bruno Mars before he's famous.
Oh yeah,
just idolizing Pete Wentz, who's just walking down the street.
yeah, I've seen that shit. Bruno Mars is a crazy example though of like fitting into pop culture so well, but also like actually making good music and kind of
That
pushing
guy's
shit.
so fucking talented.
Like if he's a great singer, I don't know what his full involvement is in like the production of his beats and like the entire process of his songs or whatever. I'm sure he's very involved, but like the musicality is actually there where it isn't in a lot of pop music. Like what I'm saying with Imagine Dragons is I can go on my computer tonight, fucking create an Imagine Dragons songs, and all I have to do is like make it sound really epic, sing with a lot of reverb, say a bunch of random shit. Bam, there's another generic pop song. But with Bruno Mars, that guy is just like, he's a little bit funky, he's soulful.
Dude, he's a great singer.
Yeah, it's weird to compare people to Michael Jackson and shit, but you kind of can in this case. I mean, I would argue that Bruno Mars is the king of pop at this moment
Today,
in time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would put him, you know what, like you're mentioning artists who you heavily dislike. Mm. And I'm going to add to that. Mine is Beyonce.
Whoa, really?
I know. This is controversial.
Yeah,
listen.
I am going to be the most liked host on this show for a long time.
Listen, Beyonce's a great singer. She's had an amazing career. She does her thing. Maybe it's not so much against her, but her whole fan base and her whole idea that Beyonce is the queen, I don't agree with that. Actually.
But you got to understand what she's using her royal powers for.
Listen,
it's female empowerment. That's why they're all like willingly like, yeah, she's
and that's fantastic.
Queen.
That's great.
She's groundbreaking for a lot of like feminist movements.
She is. I 100% agree with that. I think her fan base takes it a little too far sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
A good example, Coachella last weekend or whatever, Ariana Grande was the headline. Mm. I think she was paid $8 million for it, which is fucking crazy. Can you imagine going on stage for 2.5 hours, doing your thing, getting an $8 million check afterward? That's insane.
Yeah, I can.
Hey, man, all power. That's fucking dope. That's success. But Beyonce headlined the year before.
Right.
And at one point during the show, someone threw a lemon at Ariana Grande and it hit her. Mm-hmm. Landed on the stage, and her backup dancers all like accidentally stepped on the lemon and it got smashed everywhere. The whole point is Beyonce's recent album, Lemonade.
Right.
And it was a Beyonce fan in the crowd who was basically saying, fuck you, you're not Beyonce. Why on earth why can it only be Beyonce headlining? Why can it only be her?
No, I get it, but that's just like a fucking weird deranged fan. And that stuff happens all the time. Like back in the day, back in like the 80s and shit, you would get riots all the time at different shows, and it wouldn't be like, oh, fuck you, this band should be playing. But it might be like, you're not as good as I thought you were going to be, or you went on late, or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I think fans in general kind of have their shit together more at live shows anyways. But,
typically.
Yeah, I mean.
Listen, Beyonce is like, she's obviously a fucking extremely talented artist. She's an incredible singer, probably one of the best in the world. I want to know what what is she doing politically, or what is she doing? What charities is she a part of that contribute to what she's talking about?
It's more about her music. Her music, like, as far as I understand it, is about being like proud to be a woman, essentially, in whatever area that is, like your sexuality, your intelligence, your looks, like whatever it is. It's about just owning everything that you have and saying this is fucking awesome and like running with it. And I think that's kind of where it comes from. Like, what's that one? Fucking song. I'm never gonna remember it.
Aaron, will you look up what that one fucking song was?
Can you look up what that one fucking song is by Beyonce, please?
Listen, man, that's
but like
fantastic.
all of her songs,
that's
they
great.
fucking slap. Like,
Not all of them.
if you're not paying attention to it, it still sounds good. If you are paying attention to it, there's like a deeper message for somebody who isn't necessarily represented in pop culture the way that Beyonce is. And she's been the shit for years, like ever since Destiny's Child took off. And like, you don't necessarily see that with a ton of female artists. They might get their 15 minutes of fame or a little bit longer than that or whatever. But she's been doing this shit, and she's only like getting more fans, getting more famous, getting richer. She's just like a fucking image of success. And so that's kind of why, I mean, Jay-Z would be the perfect comparison. You get somebody who started off and he fucking like, all of his songs were about owning what he was and what he was about and saying like, it's okay that I'm this, I'm also this, I'm like making it work, I'm doing my thing. And now he's like one of the most successful people in the country.
Yeah, they're both incredibly smart people.
Exactly. And so it's just that same thing, but you have a lot of Jay-Z's already. You don't have a lot of Beyonce's. And I think that's why
I think
fans attached to her so much.
Not really to counter that. I think you have a lot of Jay-Z's now because of Jay-Z. I think he's one of the pioneers of the kind of person he is. Maybe him and Puff.
Okay.
Puff
well,
is the
maybe
same era.
maybe so on the whole like business entrepreneurial side, but I'm just talking about artists who have built an image and kept that image for decades and are still at a place where they can perform the songs they wrote 20 years ago, the songs they wrote last week, and everybody's still fucking with it. I mean, you have so many male artists who have been able to do that pretty easily. And I think that's where you get those sometimes crazy Beyonce fans, but it's pretty understandable for me, I think.
All good points. I think it's just I'm a big Reddit person, and I've read a lot of instances where I'm sure her and Jay-Z both have the rich mentality where they don't always treat people who aren't rich the best. And I'm I've never been rich and famous, but I can imagine that it kind of dilutes some of your perspective on what it's like to be a normal person. There's a lot of rich and famous people who hold on to that.
Like Bill Murray.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
He'll come to your apartment and wash your dishes during a party.
What?
That's a real thing, man. Have you not heard about these Bill Murray stories?
No.
So there are so many of these from different people and like different times around America where Bill Murray showed up out of nowhere and just did normal stuff. And
he just like knocks on your door and cleans your house?
Mm-hmm. There's a story where he was walking through like a college town or something. There was a party going on at this like dorm apartment thing, whatever. There's a knock on the door. It's Bill Murray. He comes in. He's kind of hanging out. And he's like, damn, like, you got a lot of dishes there. And he just starts doing the fucking dishes.
I mean, that's incredible, but that's kind of weird.
There's another one where like down in New Orleans, or actually, no, I think it was South by Southwest. So in Austin. He just walked into a bar and like took over bartending for the dude that was working.
What?
Yeah.
I want to see a video of that.
There's a whole documentary on Netflix about this.
I need you to send that. What's it called?
Something, Bill Murray, something.
Okay.
Something.
All right. Well, we're about at the end of this segment of the Trial and Error podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you have had an okay Monday. The rest of the week, it's going to go by quickly.
It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Hump day is only 2 days away.
And then it's going to get worse again.
And if you're home from work, you're almost there. Hope you had a good day at work. Hope you had a good day at school. Wherever you are, I hope it's good. And I'm sorry for saying that I don't think Beyonce is the best.
Yeah.
Apparently that was uncalled for.
Oh, that was too far.
All right.
All right. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you, guys.